What's up, guys? Today I wanted to share with you a few basic strategies to help get you up and going on creating some high quality content for your YouTube. Let's do it. Now, you may think in order to create these eye-catching, high-quality videos for your brand, your channel, your business, that you're gonna need all this fancy equipment to get going. But I'm here to tell you that's not true. Believe me, I used to think so as well, but really all you need to get going is some natural light and your phone. For this video, we are rolling with the bare bones, minimalist, DIY, budget-friendly, whatever you wanna call it, setup that most everybody should have at their disposal, AKA your cell phone. Now, before I get into it, please make sure you're subbed for more videos like this and other content, maybe featuring other characters in the future. All right, guys, so I've been offering video services professionally for about 10 years now, and I always revisit these 4 basic fundamentals that I'm gonna share with you today. All right, so first off, we're gonna talk about lighting. So find yourself a good window if you have that access, and you want to make sure that the light is facing you and not the other way around where you are putting yourself in front of the light, because look at the difference that makes. So exposure is how dark or bright your image or video is going to be. If you're shooting on a phone, a lot of times that will automatically adjust that exposure level for you. So for example, when I went from outside where it was super bright into the van where it's pretty dark, or a lot darker, but you still got that nice natural light coming in, it kind of brightened it back up because we switched settings like that. So that's kind of a nice thing about when you're first getting started and you don't really want to be fumbling with the settings. If you're shooting with a phone, all your cameras are going to have an automatic setting. If you've been creating videos for a while, I wouldn't recommend shooting in auto, but if you are just getting started out and you're ready to jump in, definitely feel free to flip your camera over to auto and let it do the work when it comes to adjusting the lighting. Now, that being said, if you do not have a natural light source, if you don't have that window light, or if you don't have the sun, say it's at night, or you just don't have that, that's where you're gonna wanna start looking into some lighting options like this. This is called a Lume Cube, and it's actually really, really cool, and it's just a little compact deal. And I'm gonna leave a link to this in the description box below, along with a few other options of lighting if you're interested in checking out some options. All right, next up, let's talk stabilization. Now, if you have a tripod, that's awesome. If not, trust me, you have something laying around. Let me demonstrate. So that was a little more for like stationary mode, like if you're sitting down talking to the camera like I am. But let's say you're more of a vlogger, or you're trying to do more of the vlog moving style. If your phone doesn't have stabilization, you might look into something like a selfie stick, which is actually what I'm using for this shot right now. Now the iPhone 11 Pro does have stabilization built in, so it already is smooth, but I also don't want my arm to be in the video throughout the entire section, if that makes sense. I'm shooting with my Osmo Action here, and you can see that I'm not having to strain, by holding my phone up that whole time. Then you run the risk of having your phone come down here, and that's another strategy, is to make sure your phone is upright and eye level so that you are talking directly to them and not down here, because when we're holding something, naturally don't even realize it sometimes that we will start gradually dropping our phone. I am guilty of that as well. Sometimes you just have to combat those issues by investing in a cheap but effective selfie stick. Again, I will link some options down in the description box below for you for stabilization solutions. Next up is audio, which is crucial. When we're first starting out making videos, it's so easy to forget the quality of our audio. But I promise you, if you pay close attention to this now and are in the mindset of getting great audio from the beginning, you will already be way ahead. So a couple things to look out for with audio is what's going on in the background. So pay attention to the room or the space that you're shooting in. If you are in a large space or an empty room, you might have some echo. Pay attention to what's going on in the background. If there's some construction, some neighbors, or even like your fan or something like that running, that will pick up in the background. A lot of times I have to be conscious of this guy. If he's licking, yawning, getting a drink of water, I will pause until he is done, or I will remove him from the location sometimes in order to get that clean audio. If I hear like a truck drive by in the background, I will pause for a sec or reshoot that scene, because that's the last thing you want when you're editing. You get it just right, except for that thing in the background. So those are a couple considerations. Room noise, background, just be very conscious of that when you are shooting. So besides echo and room noise, another consideration is looking out for wind. If you're shooting outside, which is very tempting to do when it's nice out, it's calm, just be very careful of if there's a breeze. Even the smallest breeze can completely destroy your audio without you realizing it if you don't have a proper microphone. Now, if you do have a microphone, that's great. A lot of times microphones will come with a windscreen, or a dead cat is what they're also called in the industry. And that should reduce some of that wind that's coming through, and you should be just fine. But if you are just shooting with a phone or a camera without a proper microphone, you really want to be careful with that wind, that breeze coming through, so that you don't get that dreadful crunching noise in your audio that we all know and hear in other people's videos, or in a video message someone sends to us when they're out in the wind. Even when we're on the phone with people, we can hear that crunchy wind audio, and it's just like painful to hear. So don't worry, I'm not going to put an example on, but I think we all know what that sounds like. So just definitely, that's something to be cautious of, because that's the last thing you want for your viewers. Is when you're creating these high quality videos, you do not want that wind audio. Now, in future videos, I will talk more about different microphones you can use. In the description box below, I'm going to list a few different audio solutions for you, different microphone options that you can look through and see if any of those work with your budget or if they don't. All right, so last but not least is composition. Now let's talk about rule of thirds real quick. If you've noticed on your camera, you got 2 horizontal lines and 2 vertical lines, and that is there for a reason, and it's a fantastic guideline for when you're getting started with composition. People in the film industry, everybody still uses this. I still use this. Other YouTubers are still using this to frame up their shots and get the best composition, because our eye line is actually drawn to these points on the screen. So you don't want to have someone clear off the side or kind of an odd corner or something. You want to make sure you are paying attention to this grid, because it is very crucial when it comes to framing your shot and having it look professional. Now, if you don't see these on your phone or your camera, I highly recommend that you switch them on, because they are a setting that I believe you can turn on and off. Follow those as a guideline when you're getting started. Another thing you'll notice is that I'm not leaving too much headroom. Like if I was down here, I'd have kind of this awkward space above me. So I intentionally framed it so that my eyes are going along that top horizontal line on the grid, because that is a main focal point for the viewer, and it just looks more appealing to watch. There's a lot you can do with composition, and once you have mastered it, play around with it. This is definitely one of those areas where you can kind of have some fun, but when you are first getting started out, it's a really good idea to follow that rule of thirds. And here's a couple examples I'll throw on the screen that I shot myself of the rule of thirds being used professionally out in the field, both with subjects and with landscape. All right, guys, those are my 4 fundamentals when you're getting started shooting video. If you have any questions for me, please drop them in the comments below. If you got anything from this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. I'm trying to put videos out weekly, covering different topics ranging from getting started with video, camera gear, etc. But also I'm going to be continuing on putting out some vlogs, also trying to do those weekly. We'll see how that goes. If you want to see more content from me and a little more of this guy, definitely head over to my Instagram, Trav_Travels, TravTravels on Instagram. I'd love to have you along for the ride. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I appreciate your support, and I will talk to you in the next video. Light check. This is just a light check. There's my boy. What is up, guys? Today, whoa, I touched my hair. I want to share with you a few wee content up and going. What am I saying?